Hi there, this is Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits, and today I'm going to show you how I like to tack down a folded collar. So this is a new sweater I'm working on, and I have knit my collar to twice the length that I want to have it, so I can fold it in half to the inside of the sweater, and now I'm just sewing it so that it stays in place. A couple things to pay attention to. One is that we want to keep our sewing line nice and flexible. We don't want to have this get too tight when we wear our sweater. And the other thing we want to do is we need to remember to line up what on this side is a knit, on the inside will be a purl. So we're lining up a knit column with a purl column underneath. So let's go ahead and zoom in so you can see how I'm doing this. So you also want to make sure to stay in line all the way across so that you don't start doing something uneven here. So I've already done a few stitches, and what I'm doing is I'm focusing on the knit columns of this side and tacking them down to the purl columns of this side. So here is the last knit I did, and it went into this purl column here. So now I need to jump to the next purl column, and to make sure I'm always getting into that top line where my ribbing changes to the main fabric of my sweater, I am making sure that I go right into the head of that line. It's easiest to see, I think, on the knit stitches, so I just look at those and then I go over to my purls. So I grab the head of my final purl stitch with my tapestry needle, and then I go through the head of this knit column here, which is actually from my cast on edge. And I just insert my tapestry needle, and this is basically like a whip stitch, and I just pull it through. I'm not gonna overly tug on this yarn. I'm doing it just secure enough to keep it tidy without making it too tight. Okay, so skip the knit column, because we are just, another way to keep this flexible is we're doing every other stitch instead of every single stitch. So I'm going to skip the knit column, go to my next purl, top head of that purl column into the top of my knit column here, and pull my yarn through. Okay, skip the knit column, go to the next purl column, and make sure I'm grabbing the head of that column and in through the head of my knit column, and pull it through. And as we go, I'm going to zoom back out so you can see. So the lower part of my ribbing has a little more stretch to it because it's going right into the body of my sweater, where the top of my ribbing doesn't have anything opening it. So you can see how it kind of wants to shift in. So if you make sure to just go column by column by column, then you'll make sure that this will stretch out just as it should so it stays lined up, so you don't kind of sew the top faster than the bottom. That's going to keep everything lined up in its columns. So let's just do a couple more. So again, I'll just zoom back in for us. All right, so this was the last purl column I did. Skip my knit column, go to my next purl column right into the head there, and then into the top of my next knit column. And you can do this however you like. Just try and remain consistent all the way through. See, I'm accidentally going to the side of my knit where I want to actually keep going through, there we go, both legs of that knit. There we go. So whatever you choose to do, just remain consistent with it. So skip the knit column, go to the next purl. Here's the knit column on top. Skip the lower knit, go to the purl, and then through the knit column on top. And I'm just going to keep doing that all the way across until my collar is fully attached. Zoom out one last time so you can see it looks really nice and tidy. Can't really see anything from the right side of your fabric. It's got nice stretch to it, so it won't feel too tight across my shoulders. That's another thing I like to do, is I like to do a little tug test to make sure I haven't started pulling too hard on my yarn, making it too tight. If you're using a fragile yarn, you can always sub in a different yarn with a stronger ply on it. You could even use embroidery thread to do your seaming. It will be slightly visible in a whip stitch, so I would stick with something close to the color of your cardigan, unless you want to be able to see that seaming. But otherwise, for instance, this 2-ply is doing just fine because I'm not yanking too hard on the yarn. I'm just doing a gentle seam to tack that collar down. I hope this is helpful. Happy knitting!